Hi everyone, Vanessa here, alcoholic. My sobriety date's October 8th, 2017, and today I want to talk a little bit about resentments and resentment towards self specifically. And I'm working on the fourth step with my sponsee, and just so you get an idea of what that involves, we do a resentment sheet for every single resentment. This is what that looks like. It is blurry, is how it is. And it is, I don't think you can see any of that. So what we look at, what we look at is our 7 areas of self. We look at the other person, see what they did to us. We talk about how it affected our self-esteem, our pride, ambition, security, personal relations, sex relations, pocketbook, and all of the fears associated with that. And then we talk about the realization, and we realize how we may or may not have done this to other people and see our part on it. And in the 4th column, we're looking at where had we been self-seeking, selfish, dishonest, afraid. When we look at how all of the fears that we had motivated the delusions, the attitudes, and the actions. It's an incredibly powerful tool that we get to use. And of course, we look at the harm. Where did us holding on to this resentment cause harm? And it's typically not just to that person, but to people around it and to people who we talk to about it and to the way that we engage in relationship. And I'm so sorry, look at this, all those little buttons. And so don't worry, I definitely just woke up recently. Okay, so yeah, in our harm. So it's like, it's a very useful tool. It sounds a little bit scary if you don't have the context of it, if you're not firmly grounded and planted in a higher power. This could be destabilizing. This is why we don't do it when we're active in active addiction, because it's very, it could become a practice in, morbid self-reflection and like, oh, I'm such a piece of shit. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? What we need to understand is that when we're working on this, especially the backside of it and looking at our part, we are realizing that that seriously was the best that we could have done at that point. If we had the capability, if we truly had the capability to do things differently, we would have. Any human being who could have done things differently would have. Even if we intellectually think like, well, I knew right from wrong, but you didn't have the power to do the right, did you? No, we operate off of what we had the power to do. And at that point, we only had the power to hold a resentment for 30 years about something. Okay, so that's really cool. And something that always comes up, and this wasn't with my recent sponsee, but something that usually comes up is people want to know if they can write a resentment on themselves. And people write resentments on themselves. I was kind of taught or trained, I was shown that you don't really do a resentment sheet on yourself. And the reason for that is because every resentment is about yourself. And as addicts and alcoholics who are so self-centered and self-focused, the last thing that we typically need to do, especially the first time doing an inventory like this, is focus on ourselves more. Okay. We just don't need to do that. Because that just seems to be like another opportunity for us to indulge our ego. And it's like, okay, we get it. You feel bad about yourself. But all of your resentments are reflecting that actually. So you don't need to do a special one just for you. I have I remember being told though, like, don't do it on your first time that you do it, but as you continue to do it, or if there's a specific resentment towards yourself, for something, then maybe in like year 2 or something, do it on yourselves. Obviously, there are no hard and fast rules, so don't come for me. Just whatever you are led to do. So if you have, if you are kind of stuck in like this place of hurt for yourself, I learned this recent activity, which was really cute. And I do it in my journal. You could do it anywhere else, I guess. You won't do a sheet on it, but I recommend just getting a journal and doing this every once in a while. And writing a letter to yourself. So you would write a letter, and I actually took this from Sandy B, who's an AA speaker. I listened to like speaker tapes basically on Spotify. And he had, I think it was like a workshop, or maybe, I don't know, he just was asked to speak. And he brought up this activity of writing a letter to yourself, writing 2 letters to yourself. And I'm going to give you the prompts for that right now, if you want to do that. I'll actually include it in the description too. So one of them is, I did this a couple days ago. This is the prompt. My dear heart, literally your heart. You're writing to your heart, to your own, the organ within you, and also poetically your heart, the thing that enables you to love and to give and receive love, etc. The thing that you've been born with, right? My dear heart, I'm writing to you to let you know how sorry I am for letting you down so very many times over the years. And then continue that letter, writing down all the ways in which you have let down and broken your own heart. And then letter 2, and again, I'll give you that prompt again, just in case. My dear heart, I'm writing to you to let you know how sorry I am for letting you down so very many times over the years. And then write down, how did you break your heart? And then the second one, my dear heart, I also want to let you know how sorry I am for the things I continue to do, which I know must give you some sadness. And then reflect on current day you, and what are you doing that's breaking your own heart right now? What are you doing that's hurting you on a day-to-day basis? What are the thoughts? What are the behaviors? What are the activities? What are the delusions? What are the stories you tell yourself on a day-to-day basis that are causing you pain? What beliefs are you holding on to that are causing your heart pain and sadness? So, my dear heart, I also want to let you know how sorry I am for the things I continue to do, which I know must give you some sadness. And then reflect on your present life and what you're currently doing to break your own heart. So I found that significantly more powerful. I did at one point write a resentment about myself just because I hadn't. And I think I did it like round 3 of steps. And I was still surprised by what came up. I would still encourage you to do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying don't do it the first time you ever do step work. But also, there are no real rules here. You can do this. You can do whatever you want, honestly. Just do inventory. Work on your resentment. So yeah, that's all I really have for you guys today. I just love, I think that in AA, there's always this like ominous cloud of the 4th step, and people relapse a lot around this step. And I don't see the point of it. The reason that people are so vulnerable during the 4th step is because it requires a tremendous amount of honesty. And the reality is, this is just the first time we get fully like dipped in honesty. This is a baptism by fire of honesty. And it is wildly purifying. There is a tremendous amount of freedom and joy on the other side of it. And as I was explaining to my sponsee today, the recovery process is not one of, okay, this is the kind of person I want to be. I want to create and build an entirely new identity, very different than the one that I've been my entire life, because that one didn't work for me. I want to be a brand new person. It's like, no, that's not what we're doing here. The recovery process is a rescue mission. It is a recovering. It is a process of refining and removing. It is a recovery process of who we were originally intended to be at birth. That pure and divine and loving part of you that is inherent in everyone, that got clouded and calloused and band-aided and covered up by traumas, by sadness, by difficult circumstances, by disappointment, by hurt. And so we become calloused as we go through our life. And that beautiful, pure, divine part of ourselves is still within us. But instead, now we've accumulated addictions and pathological lying and stealing and guilt and shame. And now we begin to retaliate and hurt other people. And now we're just like boom, boom, boom. So the recovery process is just like a peeling off. It's a sloughing off of all of that stuff and getting back to our pure and divine and just that childlike part of ourselves that we need to get back in touch with, that enjoys living, that enjoys life, that is free, and that feels safe. So I hope that whoever needed to see this saw this. And if it was you, leave me a comment or like this video. Okay, I love you so much. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.